Hi, welcome back to my channel. Adam Ferruccio here. Today I'm just going to talk a little bit about something I see a lot, about making some of these single leg stability or balance exercises a little bit more accessible, especially in the beginning to people just starting out, and especially people who need them. You know, a lot of people need more stabilization or stability training as just a small element in their program as well, somewhere within it. Doing something on one leg, because there's so many people with structural imbalances, have one leg or one side stronger than the other, or more dominant or more stable or whatever it is. Some sort of unilateral training should be included. Something on one leg as well is also very important. For me, doing stuff on one leg is kind of standing up core training, because we're integrating and getting co-contraction and connection between everything from the foot upwards. So everything is having to stabilize off that foot. We know, obviously, there's another video how important the foot is and what the foot's role and everything. But getting everything connecting, but also getting the big stabilizing muscles of the glutes, so the adductors for the lower body, everything around the pelvis interacting with each other and having to stop, because if these muscles don't work when I'm on one leg, guess what happens? If my glutes start working, I'm going to fall this way. If my adductors start just turn off, then I'm going to fall this way. So the main thing is getting their body connecting everything from the foot, the knee, the hip, the pelvis, the spine, up into the limbs as well. So if you start moving the upper body off on one leg, everything's having to co-contract, synergize, become agonist, antagonist, is switching roles and connect everything together, which helps improve coordination and stabilization. So for me, it's a big thing. But then often people, when they come into it, they jump to, they just start straight up on one leg and start going. But you can make things a lot easier. Especially for people, elder generation, balance training is massively important. Balance or neuromuscular training, whatever you want to call it, very important for elder generation. Preventing trips and falls, having to regain their balance is a big thing, and even for sports, performance, it's an element that is very, very important. How to regain your balance when knocked off all of a sudden, regain your center of mass, and be able to stabilize. I mean, you know, most things functionally are done on one leg, whether it's gait, running, all these sort of different bits. So it's being able to utilize that and build some sort of strength and stabilization. And for me, it's standing up, do your core train on the ground, but your feet are off the ground. Okay, but then when you get up on your feet, then especially when you're on one leg, the core musculature has to work in a totally different way, but in a functional way as well. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about is in terms of progressions is looking at how to progress and regress some of these single leg exercises, because people just throw people onto one leg but they can't do it. So say like single leg RDLs for instance, but single leg RDL is a big progression from just doing a double leg RDL. So one thing to look at is the feet. So it's looking at points of contact and surface area. So if I'm going to do an RDL for instance, if you look at my feet, they're about hip width apart. Okay, so if we look at the surface area around the feet, we've got, say this is 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, about 4 foot widths of space that I'm covering. Okay. However, if I go straight onto one leg, that's now 4 times harder, four times less surface area that my body is in contact with the floor, roughly 4 times harder. Okay, but if I go even wider, do wide grip sumos, that's more stable because there's a bigger surface area. If I go onto one leg, it's a lot harder because I've got less surface area, it's more unstable, if you see what I mean, if you're following me. Okay, so if we're going into that, you've got to look at surface area, but you also got to look at points of contact. Okay, so a lot of people get people doing single leg RDLs, say for instance just like this, but there's only one point of contact on the ground, so I'm literally just holding there. However, if I'm to make that a little bit easier, I could put the toe down. So I can still do the same, instead of just having this leg raised, I can put this toe down and then start doing some exercises here. So I'm going down and up, but I've just got a toe tap. Want to make it harder or easier, I could put the whole foot down. Then I'm in this sort of split stance style. Make it harder, take the foot off, just have my toes down, have the tip of the toe, have it up on the way down, put the toe tap down on the way up. So you see, I can add, by just playing around with the free leg, I can add more stability by putting the free leg down, or just a toe tap, or the whole toe, everything else, if you see what I mean. So you don't have to throw people straight onto one leg and hope for the best, because sometimes it's a catastrophe. So you can play around the back leg. I can even play around the hands, so I can get my clients holding on to something. So right, let's going to do a single leg RDL. We're just going to hold on here, lean forwards, have this hand supporting and back off. Okay, that was great. Now, instead of having your whole hand holding on it, I just want the 4 fingertips on there. Okay, and then we go again. Okay, that's great. So I've got less contact with this stable surface. Right, just do one fingertip on this here now. Okay, great, let's go. So now it's even more unstable and less help coming from that supporting arm. It's like when you start riding a bike, you know, when you were a child and you got kids, you know, you put stabilizers on first. So they're not worrying about going side to side. Yeah, same thing with this, and then you eventually take them off, or you have smaller ones or weaker ones or whatever it is. And then eventually I go, right, nothing on the way down, no support on the way down, and then you use this hand to come back up again. Have no assistance on the way down, and then come back up again. Yeah, and then sometimes I like to use a pole, you know, because it's more unstable. This is solid, okay? And then I can get them just to hold with one hand, but this now can move. So we'll go in here, and then back up again. Or I could get them doing two hands. Same thing, coming down and then back up again. So you can just play around with different, I like poles because they're more unstable as a progression. One hand on the pole, two hands on the pole, and then progress that from there, okay? So look, have a think about that in your next time you're doing it yourself with some single leg unilateral training. You can do it with step ups, you can do it with RDLs like I was showing, shrimp squats, pistol squats, all this type of stuff. And see if you get some use out of that, okay? If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you get all the new videos when they come out. And we'll speak again soon.